Development of the human personality in education. When looking at this child, several words may come to mind: disruptive, rowdy, troublemaker, abnormal, out of control. A future teacher may view this image as their absolute worst nightmare. But why? Why do we connote energetic students with poor behavior? And why does this image make us think of a healthy learning environment? The education system of the United States struggles today as our current curriculum strips students of the attributes that make us uniquely human in order to fit a societal mold that ensures academic success. Let's take a look back in the 1970s when school districts first proposed full-day kindergarten. The intent was to provide children with more stimulation for full cognitive development. This was a fundamental time in U.S. history when school boards began to consider the importance of providing children with outlets to shape their minds. This was only a start, however, as schools soon faced enormous budget cuts, leading to the elimination of several programs. With the election of George W. Bush came the No Child Left Behind Act, which aimed to provide programs to disadvantaged students. The introduction of this program gave our nation hope for improvements in education. However, Bush failed to include important programs such as physical education and art into the main curriculum. This came with a cost. By 2005, the percentage of children and teens that were overweight had tripled since 1980. Some schools were even forced to raise their own money to hire PE teachers. Our country pushed and pushed to achieve academic success in youth. However, does the intelligence of our youth matter if they are too overweight to live to adulthood? Although the No Child Left Behind Act addressed the importance of art, there were no mandated standards set, which led several schools to cut programs entirely. According to a 2004 survey of a California school, students enrolled in music courses had decreased by 50% since 1999, despite an increase in student population. As James Catterall explains, the arts promote positive social behavior, social compliance, collaboration with others, ability to express emotions, courtesy, tolerance, conflict resolution skills, and attention to moral development. But these skills do not show up in standardized testing. So, therefore, they must not be too important, right? In ancient times, education was meant to broaden and shapen the minds of scholars to create writers, poets, architects, and thinkers. Now our education system is centered around ambiguous standards that push students to blindly accept information. Rather than raising thinkers, we are overwhelming our students with so many standards that they have forgotten how to think. We are now brought to our education system today, where academic growth continues to focus on homogeneous standards for heterogeneous students. Rather than growing to be lifelong learners, students are being taught the skills to earn favorable grades and impress the state with their test scores. Those who can, I should say. The students who cannot excel in a testing-based learning environment are left to feel inferior to their peers. Despite their skills in other facets, these children adopt our country's standardized mindset, devaluing their own potential by basing it off of a single score. How inadequate the fish must have felt when asked to climb a tree. We view this comic with absurdity. Who would base a fish's intelligence off of his ability to climb when clearly his strongest skill is swimming? And yet we place English language learners into special education based on their low scores in a math test with story problems written in only English. We push and push children to fit into a societal mold that supposedly benefits our country. However, if we raise everyone to be mathematicians, then who will fill our museums with art? If we force our students to compete with one another, then how will they collaborate with others in their future jobs? We can force a square to be a circle, but eventually the block will break. Likewise, we can force a child into a one-size-fits-all education system, but they too will eventually break. Children are being deprived of the resources they need to fully develop as active learners. They are robbed of the arts and discouraged from being physically active during class time. And we wonder why an increasingly high number of children are being prescribed ADHD medication. When exploring the outdoors doesn't fit into our education system, it becomes easier to medicate children into working hard in school than providing them with outlets for their energy. Have we ever thought about taking a step back from the politics of our education system and remembering why we are educating children in the first place? Is it to raise a generation who can jump through hoops to earn a degree so they can apply minimal effort in a humdrum job? Or is it to shape the minds of our youth to grow into productive members of society, to provide children with the resources they need to explore their own potential and to utilize their unique personality to work toward the betterment of society? When I look at this picture, I see a child, an imaginative, inventive, creative child, a child who still has a spark left in him that has not yet been repressed by our homogeneous education system. When this child shows up in your classroom, what will you see?